Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? So I tested the physical type Vegeta unit against the Goku family Infinite Dragon Ball History event last week, so I figured I would go ahead and test the TEQ Kaioken Goku unit against the Vegeta's family stage of Infinite Dragon Ball History, because similar to Vegeta, against a certain type of category, this guy does get a boost. So let's go ahead and get started with the stats and we'll go from there. But as always, if you enjoyed the video, definitely be sure to like the video, and if you're new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Okay, so this is going to be the Super TEQ Kaioken Goku unit. Leader skill is actually pretty good. Goku's family category Ki +3, HP attack and defense increase 120%, or TEQ type Ki +3, HP attack and defense increase to 90%. Now with the Super TEQ, he does have the Kaioken mechanic. Obviously it is a Kaioken Goku unit. Ability to raise attack and defense and also causes supreme damage to enemies. So throughout the battle, this guy's attack and defensive stats will increase over the course of time. And as you saw, I gave this guy level 15 additional attack and level 11 for criticals because of the Super TEQ ability. Now with the passive skills, Ki +1 at the start of each turn, and defense increases 60% when there's a Vegeta's family category enemy, and then attack and defense increases 90% when performing a super attack. Ki +6 attack increases 60% when HP is 60% or less. Now the Vegeta unit on the last video was pretty much the vice versa, where this guy would get an attack or defense boost based on HP being below 60% or less. In terms of links, you're looking at Z Fighters, that's 15% to attack. All in the family is 15% to defense. Saiyan lineage is +1 Ki. Kamehameha is 2500 to attack when SA is launched. Shocking speed +2 Ki. Over in the Flash is +3 Ki, and then Shattering the Limit is also +2 Ki. This unit falls into 4 categories: Pure Saiyan's full power, Goku's family, Kamehameha. Now on this run within the Infinite Dragon Ball History event, this is going to be on the Goku's family team build setup. At 100% potential, this guy has the following stats: HP of 11,297, attack is 14,451, and defense is 9,873, 12 Ki multiplier is 145%. So throughout this video, I am going to keep this unit linked up with the LR Goku that you get from the Super Battle Road reward, just because they do share some similar links, like Z Fighters, and I believe All in the Family, Shattering the Limit. I also think, if I'm not mistaken, should have that link skill as well. In terms of like the passive skill for Goku unit, it does help out because the passive is a 30% increase to attack and defense for super type units. So it does also help out quite a bit in terms of the overall team build. Now back to the original point, this guy is pretty good in terms of like in comparison to the Vegeta unit. I kind of prefer this one when you're talking about tougher battles, because you do not have to have the HP level 60% or less in order to get the defensive boost. Basically, as long as you're fighting against a Vegeta's family category unit, you do see that 60% defensive boost right off the bat, and then you do get a 60% increase to attack when HP is 60% or less. So when it comes to the Infinite Dragon Ball History event, I prefer a higher defense over attack output, honestly, because a good defense is also a good offense, you know what I mean? So in that regard, I think this is a little bit of a safer route compared to the Vegeta unit, because again, for Vegeta, you do have to have HP less than HP 60% or below in order to get that 60% defensive boost. And by the way, a correction on the LR Goku unit. So that Goku unit doesn't have the Shattering Limit, obviously. I don't know why I said that earlier, because for those are typically assigned for Dokkan Awakened units. So I just want to make that correction just before anybody gets confused, honestly. But back to the original point, this guy is pretty good in terms of, obviously when you're fighting against Vegeta's family category, you essentially really don't have to worry about defense as much as, like starting off the bat, initial phases of the battle, you do have to build up the defense as well as the attack stats. But once you get the momentum going, this guy is very, very reliable in terms of defending and also a pretty decent attack output as well. Again, I did link the unit up with the LR Goku unit throughout the battle, just because they do share quite a few links, and also the fact that LR Goku does provide passive support to the allies on rotation. So in that standpoint, I think it's a pretty good rotational setup. Now you can certainly bring in different types of units and link them up with whoever you want to. Essentially, it's just personal preference of mine for this particular showcase. I guess in a way, it just works out. Plus, LR Goku does have a medium chance to evade enemy attacks, so that does provide some sort of damage mitigation. So it does help out overall in the grand scheme of things. Now you'll notice that the LRB pen is also on the team. I'm actually reserving the active skill for her until the very end, just to let the attack and defensive stats build up a little bit toward the end, and then we'll pretty much unleash what Kaioken Goku has in his arsenal, pretty much. Also keep in mind, this Kaioken Goku unit does fall into several different types of categories, so you don't necessarily need to go with a Goku's family setup. You could obviously go with pure Saiyans or even full power or a Kamehameha. Kamehameha is also a pretty good one, and there are various units on that category that link up fairly well with this unit. I think the most beneficial link skill that you'll run into by running a Kamehameha category is over in a flash. There are quite a few units that have that key link, and remember, it is key +3, so that can tremendously help out in terms of guaranteeing a super attack and not having to collect a whole lot of orbs in order to get the 12 key super attack. So I mean, if you're bringing LR units, that obviously does help a little bit if they do share that link as well. But overall, I mean, this unit's solid, very, very steady, I guess is probably the best way to put it. Now, it is limited to when you are facing Vegeta's family type category enemies. It doesn't, apply in all scenarios, but because we do have this brand new stage that has both Goku's family and Vegeta's family, this Kaioken Goku unit as well as the physical Vegeta unit, they're pretty much ideal units to bring on this type of setting, and certainly worthwhile to have as an option if you're running into some issues in terms of making sure to clear it. I think as long as you build a certain type of team and think about it, you shouldn't run into too many issues. But if your resources or deck availability is somewhat limited, this guy's certainly a unit that fits bill and does pretty well. So again, you do have to get this unit going a little bit. You'll have to fight at least a couple of enemies to build up that attack and defense, but once you do, you'll definitely see that huge difference, and it does make quite a bit of an impact. And that's why I was talking about the Kamehameha category earlier, is because there are a lot of units on that category that do have the ability to stack up, attack and defense, or attack or defense. It depends on the unit, but obviously the leader for that is the LR Super Saiyan Gohan unit, and then you've got some other units like who was it? TEQ Vegeta Blue obviously is on that category as well. Kaioken Goku fits in. The Exchange Goku and Gohan unit, they do stack up defense, so that definitely serves as kind of a buffer to safeguard against enemy attacks toward the latter part of the battle. You have the Transforming Goku Black that also is on that category. So the list goes on, and you have quite a few bit of categories that or units that fall into that category that have at least one of the skill sets to stack up at least attack or defense, or if not both. So you're looking at a very stable setup, especially in this type of setting, and honestly, it might be worth a try in the Legendary Goku event. Kamehameha category is typically one of the easier options to go through the Legendary Goku event. So just worth noting that it's one of those teams I run fairly often, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, lately nowadays it almost seems like Kamehameha is obviously a good one. Conquest of Terror category is also a pretty phenomenal category as well, in combination with Transformation Boost. I still love the movie boss category, but the Conquest of Terror, Transformation Boost, a lot of the units that used to fall into the movie boss category pretty much fall into that, so it's kind of like an updated team for the movie bosses in a way, because why not run a double lead Transforming Cooler when you can? It's a lot of fun, especially even on Infinite Dragon Ball History. It's a lot of fun, because once Cooler transforms, you're looking at pretty much annihilating the enemy. So that's pretty much in summary how that goes down. this rotation works out pretty good, where you have the Exchange Goku Gohan, you have the LR Goku, and then the TEQ Kaioken Goku in the middle slot. So it tends to work out pretty well. And all those guys, except for the LR Goku unit, do have the ability to stack up defense. So pretty much you're mitigating a lot of potential damage coming your way. Again, the LR Super Saiyan Gohan unit has that ability as well, and the LR Gohan and Goten unit, I mean, they're pretty phenomenal units as a standalone, and it's definitely a lot of fun. And luckily they do have the secondary lead for Goku's family, so you could essentially run your lead as LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku and bring in a friend, LR Goku, Gohan and Goten, if you want to go about it that way. It does help out quite a bit by having the Gohan and Goten unit on the team, because they do go through quite a bit of applying damage to the enemy, basically. So I think the defense looks to be about 175,000 at this point. That's pretty good. Definitely does make a difference, and we've got all the attacks coming up from Trunks, and let's see how much damage we end up taking. Maybe we'll get a super attack from the enemy, and we'll see how much this Goku can tank up. Alright, unfortunately we didn't get any super attacks coming from Trunks. You know, sometimes it's like, when you want them to super attack, they won't, and when you don't want them to, they tend to do so. That's kind of like how everything works out in the game, honestly. But, you know, it's RNG, it's a lot of fun, somewhat stressful at times, but it is what it is. So I think, I'm trying to remember the order of this, like, after Trunks, I think it was the TEQ Buddha unit, right? And then after that, it's the Vegeta Jr. Should be finishing off with that, if I remember correctly. Sometimes I kind of get mixed up with the order arrangements, but I think that was how it went down. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, these guys are definitely very, very good units. Provide a lot of damage with multiple, you know, super attacks, same rotation, so it's definitely a lot of fun. Alright, so the interesting thing about this unit, right, is the fact that she will super attack every single time, basically. Now, I thought about putting the Kaioken Goku in the first slot just to see how much damage he would end up taking, but you know, just to be safe, we'll just let LR Goku take it, because he does have the type advantage in this case. I'm pretty sure Kaioken Goku would have been able to tank some pretty decent levels. He might actually taken less than LR Goku, to be honest with you, but sometimes you kind of, you know, you make mistakes here and there and you don't really think about it, but looking back on it in hindsight, it's always 20/20. But yeah, I think he would have been fine, and obviously she had sealed his SA, so can't really get the super attack in that case, but it's alright. Yeah, we'll just have to finish up here. I think with the LR Gohan and Goten, they should be able to pretty much rip off a lot of HP from Buddha. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, B-Pen is definitely nice to have on a team as well, just because, you know, damage mitigation and also the ability to recover 55% of damage dealt. It really does make a difference in terms of, you know, conservation of items. If you know, if you're running the risk of using too many items, you know, she essentially will serve as, you know, having extra items. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I look at it. So certainly beneficial to have, and also, you know, the active skill, it's a little bit limited to just one time only, so you kind of have to think about when and where you want to apply that. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's, you know, for a free-to-play unit, very, very good unit. Alright, so we have a bunch of attacks coming up, and defense looks to be about 217k, so we'll see how much in damage Goku ends up taking with all those attacks. I would say very little, to be honest with you. And 2 million attack stats. I think the HP was well over 60% at this point, so we're not getting that secondary passive skill kick in this case, but once it does, it'll probably get close to the 3 million attack stats. Alright, we'll drop the HP a little bit, get closer to below 60%, so I think that'll work out here. So for this rotation, I am going to minimize the amount of damage that Vegeta Jr. ends up taking, just so I can guarantee that the Kaioken Goku does have a chance to really attack in the next one. So as you saw, pretty much LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku doesn't have enough ki for a 12 key super. That was intentionally done just to minimize the damage in this case. I don't want to accidentally kill the Vegeta Jr. unit, you know what I mean? So the thing you got to be careful of is LR Gohan and Goten, right? They have the potential to perform multiple super attacks, and crits included. You're looking at a fairly amount of damage applied, so you do have to be a little bit careful when you're trying to do a showcase. It's a little bit weird when you're doing a showcase because you're trying to set things up a certain way, but luckily it all worked out. I think we have a decent enough amount of HP left, and I don't know if it'll be a one-shot at this point, but we do have B-Pen's active skill initiated, and we're looking at pretty good attack stats as well as defense, and we'll close off and see what happens here. So we do have all the passive skills active as well for this unit. So this will be kind of like the maximized rotational setup. So 3.5 million attack stats, so very, very good output, and defense is also good at this point as well. So yeah, I mean it's pretty intense, but certainly a good unit to test out on this stage of Infinite Dragon Ball history. So hopefully you guys enjoy the content. As always, thanks for watching.